Hey, it's Justin Goff. I'm here with Scott Connorton. He is a Copy Accelerator LITE member. And in the last year, Scott has gone from making about $10,000 a year as a copywriter to now he's having $10,000 to $15,000 months, which is a pretty meteoric rise. And the reason I wanted to have him on today, because kind of going from 10K to probably pulling in, let's say, 150K this year as a copywriter. Not too many copywriters can claim they have done that. I know I certainly did not. So I want to bring Scott on to have him share his story, figure out what's working for him, and even talk about some of the kind of the stumbles along the way in that first year of copywriting, which is usually the toughest by far. So Scott, really appreciate you coming on. Let's start with kind of where you were last year. So COVID hit. You had a kind of normal 9 to 5 job in the sales world. You'd been doing sales for some years. Decided to kind of do your own little thing, side hustle wise, that you got into with Dean Graziosi, learning some stuff from them. Walk us through exactly kind of what happened there. And I know you left your 9 to 5 job as well, which turned out to be obviously a very scary moment.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, so at the beginning of 2020, I'd really become disheartened with being like a 9 to 5er, answering to managers. If anybody's in the sales world, they'll know that sales managers are probably a step above the rest. But yeah, I was doing sales. I was on the road, and I came across this program that Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins had done called Knowledge Broker Blueprint. And the whole premise is basically like it teaches you how to kind of start your own mastermind. And then it had this kind of bonus module where it's like, marketing skills, you can help the experts and help them launch their own masterminds, which really kind of struck a chord with me because it's the whole like high ticket sales thing. And, it's if you get it right, you could significantly change your life. So I was really excited about that. And I'd done some, just as a side hustle, like some direct mail, direct market, postcard advertising for some local businesses. And while I was doing that, I was reaching out to a consultant who was in the direct mail space. And he was kind of, we got along really well. We were shooting emails back and forth, talking about, what makes a postcard campaign work and all that kind of stuff. And then once I kind of came across that Dean Graziosi course, it was kind of like, hey, I know an expert. And then I shot him an email. After a few emails, he was like, you know what, let's do this. This sounds great. So there was no money up front. And I was okay with that because he's super professional dude. And we decided to join together and kind of launch our own direct marketing mastermind. And the moment that deal the ink was dry, I called and gave in my 2 weeks notice to my sales job, and that was kind of that. So that was my last day was my birthday, February 17th, and I waited till the end of my birthday weekend to tell my wife what I'd done. Again, don't do that. But she was really excited about the prospect. I showed her the emails, I showed her who the guy was and all that kind of stuff, and then wrote a product launch sequence. An email sequence, and the second email gone out, we were getting replies, people being like, hey, are you guys actually doing this? This is awesome. It's exactly what I've been looking for. Here's my card, all that kind of stuff. And then COVID hit. And I remember I was on holiday with wife down in Florida with a couple of friends, and they had, it hit the news that the NBA was closing down. We all kind of look at each other, I think we should try to figure out how to get home because I live in Canada and we're down in the States at the time. So I sent the gentleman a text being like, hey, so I guess we're not running this. So that went on hold. And then when I got home, I'm kind of like, I have no idea how I'm going to make money. And this is before like I really had my eye set on copy. Like I kind of came from just studying internet marketing, like the Jeff Walker, the Frank Kern, the Evan Pagan kind of. And then, yeah, so this opportunity, which would have been amazing had it gone through, fell through. And I was left kind of like, all right, well, now I got to figure out what to do. So I'm kind of, at that time, I'd read Brian Kurtz's book, Over to Her. And it was that hierarchy of list, offer, copy that kind of stuck in my head. And that was kind of when it was like, okay, so if I'm going to make marketing work, I at least have to understand copy, right? Like copy is kind of what makes, it's not where everything starts, but it's kind of what makes things happen. So that's when I started going down. I picked up John Carlton's Simple Writing System. I bought a bunch of books. I'd already had the Ultimate Sales Letter, so I started studying. And then I just started keeping my eyes open for opportunities. And because I'd come from that like information marketing world, I got it in my head that I was going to write like free plus shipping sales pages and book offers and that kind of thing, because that, you know, I love reading. I got probably 1,000 books behind me there. 1,000's a big number. Let's call it 200. But yeah, I kind of went down that rabbit hole, and I remember going into, so the first thing I did is I changed my my description on my Facebook profile to say, you know, I think it was like something like freelance copywriter specializing in book funnels. And I went into like author groups and all that kind of stuff. And I remember I made one post be like, where my authors at ? And like, you know, big red block text and all that kind of stuff. And it was funny because a publisher actually reached out to me, and because of that little blurb on my profile, he was like, hey, I kind of, you know, I work with authors too. Let's see if there's an opportunity for us to collaborate on something. So it was a few, that was probably middle of summer. And then I'd also been looking in job boards on Facebook and found an entrepreneur. So like in 1 week, I went from having no clients all year to having like these 2 first clients. And one was a guy who was looking for help writing a sales page for like an internet marketing course about how to make internet marketing courses or marketing courses or something like that. And then the other guy was this book offer guy who wanted a lead funnel, lead gen funnel written for him. So that was kind of like, that's the snapshot of.
So the first time you actually got paid to write copy, was it one of these clients?
It was both of them. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. And what did they pay you?
So the guy who was doing the online course about how to make online courses, he paid me $1,500 in 3 chunks. So it was like $500 to start the project, $500 to get to the first draft, and then $500 for the final like package. And it was a sales page, Facebook ads, and email launch sequence. I think I did 2 launch sequences for him. One was 4 emails, the other was 7. So kind of split test, that kind of thing. And then the other guy, who's like, he's just like salt of the earth. He paid me $1,000 for his own page, and I worked on his lead magnet for him. And I also have a credit with him that if I ever write a book, he'll just publish the thing for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you got your first gig. Those projects. So you made a couple $1,000. Mm-hmm. How did the rest of, just as a reminder for everybody, we're talking about, this was in 2020.
Yeah.
The rest of 2020, did you pick up more gigs? Did that kind of fall flat? Where did things kind of go from there?
Right. So when I made the decision that like, okay, copy is going to be my thing, that's just that I'm done trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I guess either the universe or the Facebook algorithm, one of the two, put Stefan's RNBC ad in front of me. And at that time, it was like, okay, I'm just going to figure out how to do this. I'm just going to swipe. But this is before I kind of really knew what swipe was. I was swiping Stefan's RNBC, and I got to probably the unique mechanism behind the solution, where he kind of outlines, and this is the first time I ever heard of the term lead before, but where he goes into, the sales letters broken into lead, background, mechanism behind the problem, solution. You know the spiel. I thought to myself, damn, I'm going to buy this damn thing. So I took the payment plan with money I didn't have, and I started studying that thing pretty intensively. And it was actually when I got to your Olaf upsell formula, where I was kind of like, and in the training, you're like, if there's copywriters who are looking for clients. This is like a really underserved market. If you can figure out upsells, you can get people huge gains. And that clicked with me because like before then it'd be, if you look at a lot of what people are online when it comes to copy, it's like learn how to write sales letters or learn how to write emails/email marketing, right? And for whatever reason, I think it was for whatever reason, email was just like, I mean, emails are so vital. They're what drive the back end of every business. But for whatever reason, I just that training really stuck to me, and I got really excited. So there was another client that I was just scrolling Facebook and saw a Facebook ad about he was a local real estate agent. And like I said, it came kind of from like the Dean Jackson world. So I kind of had an idea, and my brother's really big into real estate. So I had an idea about how I could help him get clients. I went to his landing page. It was the worst homepage you've ever seen. I don't even know what platform it was. Like, it's probably designed in 1998 or something like that. So anyways, I reached out to him, and I kind of I brought him on as a client, got him some good results. And then I went searching. I just went into it was the Direct Response Marketing Partners Group, and I just searched the word upsell. And I came across a client who was actually like posted in, it was probably 2 weeks before I had searched this, saying they were looking for someone to help write upsells. And it was just like, nobody had commented on it. There were maybe one like, and I think it was by the person who wrote the post. So I reached out to her, and it was a few weeks. And then it was Christmas Eve of 2020, where we signed the agreement, and she sent the first 50%, and that was kind of what got me to. So those last two gigs are what got me to like the 10K mark.
Okay, so first year really giving copywriting a go, you made 10, 12K for the whole year for copywriting. So shifting to 2021, this is when things really kind of took off for you. Let's kind of break that down. Was there kind of a pivotal moment where, I know you came to our event early in 2021. I'm kind of curious, where did things really kind of start to take off for you, and you started hitting those 10K, 15K months?
Yeah. So it wasn't until April that I had my first 10K mark, 10K month. January, I did a grand total of $1,000, and that was for an email. He was actually a Copy Accelerator LITE member at the time. I think he's still a CA LITE member. He hired me to write e-com emails. And then in February, when I started kind of getting the news that you guys were about to do the CA LITE event, I brought it to my wife, and I'm like, look, there's this live event going on. It's a huge networking opportunity. There's going to be like the cream of the crop, in this world, all kind of getting together and talking about what works, what doesn't work, and all that. And so I was super excited. And she said, no, we don't have the money. You just made $1,000 last month. We're living off our savings. No. And I'm like, okay, if I want to go to this thing, I got to come up with the money, right? So
I kind of agree with her. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. So it was that upsell client. I finished that first funnel at the beginning of February, and then she immediately wanted me to start on another funnel. So that covered the bills. And then I reached out to the real estate agent client just to see how things were going, and he was having trouble getting his ads set up. So I said, hey, why don't we, I'll put together your ad campaign, and I'll help set up your ads and all that kind of stuff. And, we'll call it $1,500, and that'll be it. So when I closed that client, and his buddy actually wanted some work done, so they kind of made a deal, the three of us. When I brought that to my wife, she's like, okay, go to the event. And then I go to the event, and I immediately, I've been to live events before, like back in 2017, I went to Jeff Walker's Product Launch Formula Live. And I knew that there was a mastermind that was probably kind of opening up at the live event for us to join. And I thought going into the event, I'm not going to join this thing. And then Stefan the genius that he is, starts talking about community. And that was like kind of top of my head. Like, you know, I'm living at home. We're in COVID. I'm not really like in my social circle. There's nobody who's really like talking copy or marketing or anything like that. So that was like a real huge. And then I started hearing some of the, you know, the stories of people who had, you know, Rob Tidwell. I started looking at your YouTube channel about all the stuff that had gone on, and I was like, God damn it! If I'm gonna do something, I gotta commit. I gotta get around the right people, and I gotta start building a network of like-minded individuals that we can, you know, like, because like, and Copy Accelerator LITE is really like for me the definition of a rising tide raises all boats. And yeah, when Stefan started talking about the whole thing, I was like, ah, shit, I'm gonna join this damn thing. And then I'm like, oh crap, now I really have to figure out how to
Right.
not only pay the bills, but foot the bill for Copy Accelerator.
All right. So let's dig into some specifics. So
Yeah.
I would really like to know kind of if you had to narrow down 2 or 3 things, let's kind of look at that have kind of moved the needle for you this year in terms of, I'm not just talking about joining Copy Accelerator, obviously that helped, but let's look at like specific. Is it getting feedback on your copy? Has it been networking with people who are better than you at copy? What's like really kind of moved the needle for you this year?
I would have to say 100% networking, because after joining, it was a post that Krista Edsel had posted that she was actually leaving a gig and they needed filled. And I had mentioned at this CA event that I was interested in writing upsells and advertorials, because to me, those are the things that were just the most attractive. And it was in one of her posts where they're like, you know, they're looking for an advertorial copywriter. And that gig specifically is what leveled up my my skill set significantly. Especially, I think it really was advertorials that did it for me the most. Like,
Were you just writing? You were just writing every day.
Yeah, they had me writing, and it was a wide range of stuff on a number of different products, right? So they're mostly in like the consumer niche. So they've got bed sheets, coffee, DIY detailing sprays, and then like miniature air conditioner, like all these kind of stuff, right? So they had me writing advertorials, no emails, but Facebook ads, and that was pretty much it. Advertorials and Facebook ads is what I was writing most of them. But yeah, and then having to, you know, hey, we want this. Let's get it in a few days. Okay, so it really forced me to get good quick. And it was when I got news from them that I had almost doubled their conversion rates on a number of their controls, where I was like, okay, maybe I'm actually good at this thing. Which you know, that first win, I don't think is something anybody forgets, because it kind of gives you the confidence to be like, okay, what else can I do? Like, I'm at least capable of doing this. What else am I capable of? If I just stick to it, if I just put my nose down and, you know, and just do the work. I think that was the biggest needle mover for me, getting that, making those connections within the community to get that first gig and get those first wins under my belt.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that I preach all the time, is that you can read all the books and the courses, and I 100% recommend it. If you're following good information, it will help you get better, and you kind of need that framework usually, but you have to be writing at the same time. You can't just be studying courses and think you're going to get better. The only way to truly get better is to write, and
for sure,
usually that means every day. Might be a half hour, might be an hour, might be 2 hours a day. So I mean, I think you doing that, and especially getting the being able to write for a wide variety of niches, I think is really helpful in the beginning for a lot of people. because it lets you see kind of all kinds of different angles, and you're hitting on different pain points. You're not just kind of cranking out the same thing over and over again.
Mhm.
So yeah, getting that first gig and really writing, I think is huge. The network too, to me, um, I think it's huge for multiple reasons, but one, especially in that first couple of years, like you don't know what the hell you're doing. Uh, and the first year is usually pretty rough anyways, as a copywriter, because you're usually writing stuff, it's not working. You're like really start to question and doubt yourself. You wonder what the hell you're doing. Like, did I make a bad decision? Why am I why did I
Oh
leave my
man.
job to try to do this? But then you
Yeah.
start talking to other copywriters who have been there, and you start to realize they're like, oh, they all went through this exact same thing. I'm not
Absolutely.
actually like terrible at this and gonna get fired. Like this is actually just
Yeah.
kind of normal for what copywriting is.
Yeah. It's definitely it's a weird path to take. I can tell you in those first couple months of I'd say up until March, I probably wanted to quit like 3 or 4 times because like you're so uncertain about your capabilities, and you're so, I mean, if you're, most of the people I've come across at least feel this way, like you want to get people results. It's not about the money, it's about kind of making a name for yourself and making that impact. And yeah, it can be really stressful, but having the right people behind you is a definite game changer, man. Like Rob Tidwell, Scott Mills, Sam Novak. I know I'm gonna miss like six. Jared Harlan, like all these guys have just been just so like supportive and helpful, and just being like, you're on the right path, keep to it, you're doing okay. And to quote Scott Mills, you're enough. It's definitely probably the biggest help to kind of keeping me on target for sure.
Yeah, I've mentioned to a couple of people that I feel like in those first couple of years, you really do. You need someone around you that literally believes in you more than you believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Because it is hard to believe in yourself when you. I mean, people always email me all the time, and they're like, "I don't have any confidence in my copy," and like I'm like, "Well, that's actually pretty normal. Like you've never actually done a great job at it yet, so like you probably." It'd be kind of strange if you actually were just like super confident
It's a huge red flag if you have zero results.
like you've never actually done it. Like if you were actually
Yeah.
really confident, that would be kind of strange.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's actually very normal. But that I think it is the big benefit of having the a group around you, or at least certain people around you that see the potential and who have already done it and are like, yeah, you're on the right path, you're doing the right things, you'll
Yeah.
get there. I'm curious one thing, how much have you kind of utilized getting feedback on your copy from either peers or from some of the coaches? How much has that kind of affected where your copy is?
Feedback's been a huge part of, especially in that kind of intermediate stage when let's call it April, May, June. One of the clients I ended up getting was a retainer client, and they've been in the space a long time. They're really, really smart dudes, and they've allowed me to try stuff, and they've given me great feedback. Saba Karimi has been a huge help, especially in those first few advertorials. Just to be like, because I didn't even know what a listicle was when I first started writing advertorials. I remember emailing Krista and be like, hey, or no, it was Heath Wilcock, be like, hey man, what's an advertorial? And Heath was really cool and kind of shed some light on that. But I kind of I feel like not just the coaches, but again, dipping into that network, and your clients are a huge source of help. And I don't think I'd be where I am now without feedback, right? What's the tagline? Nobody writes alone, something like that. But yeah, huge help for sure.
Yeah, if I whenever I give just kind of like very basic advice to copywriters who are just starting, it's write every day, get feedback on your copy as much as you can. And
Yeah.
then if you can kind of have the network around you, because one of the big things, and you mentioned this briefly, with the network and kind of just getting your name out there, is that it's really hard to get hired if nobody knows who you are.
Yeah, for sure.
A big part of getting hired and picking up new clients and then raising rates is all about people knowing you. And that can be hard for a lot of people, especially if you're pretty introverted. But it's like we do everything pretty much online. So I mean, you can be well known just from like posting really good stuff in Facebook groups and stuff like that. I mean, we have such a like tight knit direct response community. It's like you could be posting helpful stuff in lots of different copywriting groups and direct response groups and get your name out there pretty quickly with people kind of wanting to work with you.
Yeah. And I think one thing I would add to that is if this has been my experience, because this did not click for me early on. Going into groups when you're making posts, it's like you're doing it from a contribution mindset and not a trying to look for work space, because people pick up on that super quick.
Yeah.
And it does not take long. Like you said, it's a very small world. It does not take long for you to make. It takes a while to make a good name for yourself. It does not take long to make a bad name for yourself. And that can happen pretty quick with the wrong or right people, depending on how you look at it.
Right.
But yeah.
All right. So 2021 is going really well for you. Copy's doing well. You're doing 10 to 15K a month. I know you mentioned a little bit about some of your next plans are to potentially create your own offer. Let's chat a bit about that. What are kind of your plans there?
Yeah. So my two main focuses for 2022 are I've got 2 retainer clients now. I'm going to focus on them 100%, 90%, because the offer that I'm creating is actually around because I've had pretty good success and a pretty good track record with advertorials. I'm creating a program around how to create advertorial and e-com sales funnels. So that's going to be the main focus. I've actually reached out to Michelle Lambert in our group, who's been stupid helpful over the past few days, just kind of helping me to dial in the offer, get clarity on who the target audience is. Because originally I was only going to do it for offer owners and business owners, but I don't think I'm at a point in my career yet where I can really be like a copy guru, and I don't really want to be, but I do have a kind of a SOP, standard operating procedure, of how to create a winning advertorial that I think might be super helpful to copywriters. So that's what 2022 is really looking to be like.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're gonna wrap this up in a bit, but one thing I usually ask everyone on here, so let's say someone was listening to this, they've seen other videos of mine, they've probably read stuff on my email list, they've thought of either coming to a Copy Accelerator event or potentially even joining the mastermind. What would be some of the words that you would say to them if they were kind of on the fence or thinking about it?
So I've been, I suffered from shiny object syndrome for a few years there. Just kind of trying to figure out, where it is I wanted to fall in this crazy online marketing or marketing world, I guess you call it now. Hitching your horse to the right cart is unbelievably important, especially early on. And there are a lot of programs out there that are kind of, there's not a lot of how. It's a lot of people out there are selling you the what and the why. Like they've got like this, free workshop that's a lot of what and why. Oh, we're going to sell you the how, and then you buy the how, and it's still a whole lot of what and why with not a lot of guidance. And I would not be doing I wouldn't be doing 30% of what I'm doing right now had it not been for this community. The people involved, the coaching, and the holy crap like you guys have like, there's there's so many like videos in that members area, delving into exactly what is working, and not only what is working, but why, and then how to get yourself there, right? So if anybody would be on the fence about Copy Accelerator, it's not going to happen for you. There's a lot of hard work and you've got to be dedicated. But I think just showing up, putting in the work, being consistent, and knowing that the struggle is normal is, you know, I don't want to say you can't fail, but I'd find you'd be hard pressed not to have at least some success, if you just did those few things, right? And like, not to blow smoke, but Copy Accelerators literally changed my life. Like this Christmas, I'm taking my entire family to a chalet for a week.
Oh,
Nobody's paying it. I'm footing the bill, and it's a really cool place to be in. I mean, I probably shouldn't. I should probably save some money, but this year I'll treat the family a little. But yeah,
nice.
for sure.
Awesome, man. Well, I truly appreciate you coming on, sharing your story. I know a lot of the people listening to this who may be in a similar spot that you were last year, probably going to find it really inspiring to see you kind of go from struggling and trying to figure out what you want to do with your life and how are you going to kind of support your family to now just crushing it just a year later is pretty damn impressive. So big congrats to you and I mean, big congrats to you for putting in the work and for not giving up. Like you said, it is not, I always say it's simple, but it's not easy.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there are going to be periods of struggle. There are going to be ups and downs, but I think you're a good testament to what can happen when you actually put in the work and just kind of follow the path that's been proven for a lot of copywriters.
And surrounding yourself with the right people. I want to really press on that point. Like that's, yeah, having someone that just back to your point, having someone that believes in you more than you believe in yourself. A shout out to Rob Tidwell, man. That dude is, he's salt of the earth. That guy.
Love Rob.
Yeah, but yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your time too, Ivan. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks again.